Hello everyone, this is Ponder on Weather. In this update, we're going to be talking about a strong severe weather outbreak that is coming over the next 2 days. So let's take a look at this trough. We've been highlighting this over the last week on this channel, this significant trough that's dived in off the west. Now it's pulling into the warm sector out ahead of it. It's been plenty warm into the central and eastern 2/3 of the US. And then all the ingredients, unfortunately, are looking to come together or potentially a significant event that looks to unfold over the next 2 days. So in fact, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted a slight risk for severe storms. I'm not terribly too concerned with this activity. This won't even actually get going until after midnight tonight, Thursday night into Friday morning. But the SPC does highlight a slight risk for severe storms in and around the Texas Panhandle, going into far western portions of Oklahoma, as well as portions of central and western Kansas for that severe activity that's going to unfold into the overnight hours. But really, the main concern is the enhanced risk of the upgrade and then the expansion going into tomorrow over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, getting into portions of central Texas, East Texas, into central southern Oklahoma. And then the slight risk for severe storms extends all the way down into, say, Austin, into San Antonio, into the Houston Metroplex, all the way into portions of Louisiana, getting into Arkansas, as well as even further to the north into the Oklahoma City area. I think most of the activity originates essentially from Wichita Falls eastward, with the main activity really highlighting I-35 corridor eastbound with the most significant threat. But unfortunately, we do have a hatched risk. This is rare for November. This is the first week of November. Kind of crazy to see a hatched risk for tornadoes in this area, but we do have a good chunk of real estate that is going to be under that hatched risk. Now, what does actually that mean? That basically means that you have a 10% chance of a strong tornado. That we're talking an EF2 type tornado that potentially could develop in this sector that could be within 25 miles of your home. So this is a concern for potentially strong tornadoes as we get into the afternoon time frame, early evening time frame. And then outside of that, you still have that tornado threat. It's maybe not as potentially as big as a tornado that could unfold up here into portions of Dallas and to East Texas. So we still have that 10%, a slight risk for tornado activity extending a little bit further south. And then all the brown shaded area, that's essentially a 5% chance of seeing an isolated tornado. And in all the green shaded area, that is a 2% chance, essentially, in this whole pocket out here, multiple states, of seeing possibly a tornado from all the way to the deep south of Texas, into Louisiana, extending into Kansas, as well as all the way into Arkansas, into Missouri. So this is always also going to be a damaging wind threat as well. So we could be looking at a nasty squall line that could be looking at 60 to 75 mile per hour of hurricane force, potentially wind gusts, as this potentially moves through the Metroplex tomorrow afternoon into the evening time frame. So this whole corridor here could be looking at some higher winds as those significant threat will move across your area. So let's zoom into this and highlight tonight, going into the overnight hours. This is about 2 o'clock in the morning. You can see isolated bubblers start to pop up in this area into the Texas Panhandle. That's where they do have that slight risk for severe storms, going into the Oklahoma Panhandle as well as into Kansas. This area of concern is really not a tornado threat. It's very isolated. It's only a 2% chance. But the main threat, I think, with these systems are going to be potentially your larger hail and some damaging winds into the overnight hours. This is about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I think this really gets going after midnight, and then you'll have these little isolated bubblers start to pop up in this sector, moving towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So what's concerning is as we get into Friday, so this is your dew point. This is pretty high, guys. This is extremely high. So your typical high temperature in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is 71 degrees right now, and you're going to wake up tomorrow morning basically 70. You're already going to be at your average high temperature this time of year. and dew points surge into the low 70s. That is extremely moist. You only need 55 degrees to have severe weather. So we're talking 17 on top of that. So that's the warm sector that this low level jet really gets to tap into. Unfortunately, that's going to set the stage for those severe storms that are going to break out. So as we move forward, this is your kind of an idea of some of your maximum updraft, this helicity values. This is pretty concerning. This is as the low level jet comes across, it just kind of gives you an idea where potentially the updrafts could be. This is where indicating some larger hail could actually potentially unfold, some tornadoes that could be unfolding. And then you see these little lines right here, solid, that's potentially maybe a QLS, QLCS type tornado, kind of a more of a long track tornado, maybe not out of the question. So this is kind of gives you an idea up here in the Texas Panhandle into the overnight hours, into the DFW Metroplex, essentially mainly east of the I-35 corridor mainly, and then extending into Arkansas, Louisiana, and headed into portions of Oklahoma. And it's going to be a significant wind threat. So this is some estimated winds that are going to be coming across as this powerful upper level low will tap into this energy. Yeah, so we could be looking at some significant winds. 60 to 75 miles an hour is definitely not out of the question. Even some isolated heavier 80-mile-per-hour winds is definitely not out of the question. In and around the Texas area, Oklahoma, Louisiana, back into Arkansas, going into Missouri, that won't be until kind of the overnight hours into Friday. And we are going to have that tornado threat as well. So that's why we do have that hatched risk for severe storms. Your tornado parameters are fairly high on this event, essentially over the Dallas-Fort area, extending into portions of central Texas, heading into East Texas as well. So that's why they do have that greater 10% hatched risk in place. So let's highlight this. I think things get going about 2 o'clock. So this is Friday. About 2 o'clock, this is what the radar could potentially look like, and this is what's concerning. You start to see these little isolated bubblers in a rotating atmosphere like this of discrete type supercells unfolding. That's really concerning. You're looking at some larger hail could be unfolding out of that. All these areas could be rotating at the same time, and it's not going to take much to have like a spin up quick tornado and this activity about 2 o'clock. So I'll be going live on this event to keep you well ahead of the storm, but I wanted to get this out there to let you know this could be a significant event that could be unfolding in the next 2 days. And so this is what the radar could look like about 2 o'clock, heading into Oklahoma, extending in more solidly into Kansas. Not as severe, right? Because they're all kind of together, right? So they're not as severe, but even going into the 6 o'clock time frame. So that corridor between 2 and 6 o'clock, I think, are going to be really bumpy. We could be looking at several tornadoes in that time frame and very significant winds. Most of this is going to congeal into a kind of a solid squall line and transfer into more of a wind threat, significant wind threat moving across. And that's when you could see potentially those 60 to 75 miles an hour and some tornadoes on the leading edge of this as well. So this is what it could look like about 6 o'clock on Friday evening. So a lot of you guys, you're picking up kids from school, right? You're getting off work, you're driving home. So you're talking a lot of people coming home for Friday night, going to be on the roadways with this significant event in a largely populated area. And that is what's the concern of what could be unfolding as we go into Friday afternoon, Friday evening time frame. Going into Oklahoma, going into portions of Kansas, this will extend, lessen the severe threat as you lift further north into Missouri and going into Iowa. But as we go into, say, the 8 o'clock time frame, going to the 8-9 o'clock time frame, then I think this is the cold front. This is going to be a cold front that's going to be trailing on the backside. So we're going to have the initial stage, I think, from 2 to 6 o'clock, isolated bubblers. That's when I think the most significant tornado and hail threat will be. And then the damaging wind threat. And then this will be a secondary squall line that comes through 8, 9, 10 o'clock time frame, comes through. That could be also more of a quick little spin up on the leading edge. and then more of a significant wind threat as this squall line will be racing across into East Texas into the overnight hours. And this is about 2 o'clock in the morning. So I think things don't really get going down here towards, say, into central Texas, towards San Antonio, towards the Houston Metroplex especially. I don't think they even get going until after the midnight time frame. So this is an overnight event for you guys into the Houston Metroplex, you know, going into Louisiana, going into Arkansas, into portions of some, you know, Shreveport, Little Rock, going into Missouri here with this squall line that really kind of congeals together and then races off to the east into the overnight hours. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do hit the like button. It definitely tells YouTube to spread the word and get this out there. And subscribe to my channel if you hadn't already. So I wanted to give you plenty of advance warning from this system. I'll probably do more of an extended overview, more of a long-term tomorrow morning for the rest of the country, and then going live on this event from probably 2 o'clock, maybe starting at 1 o'clock on Friday, going through the evening time frame and keep you well ahead of the storm. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and